Can't decide and torn between a romantic, comedy, action, or an indie film to watch for the weekend? Well. Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast is your ultimate guide to the latest movies. Join us as we dissect the latest on the blockbusters. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast.
Hello, and I am bringing us in for the GSMC Movie Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC, that's GSMC Podcast Network. And no, it is not an acronym, it is the word GSMC. GSMC. No, it's an acronym. Definitely don't go telling your friends that you listen to the movie podcast on the GSMC Network. They'll be like, what? Mm-hmm. So, anyway. So
tell them who you are. They don't know who you are. This could be the first episode they're listening to us.
What?
I am your host, Cynthia.
She's Keith, and I am Cynthia.
Yeah, there we go.
Actually,
but what did we say our names were? You were Kesha.
Oh yeah, that's
Kesha,
right.
And I was Cynthia.
Cynthia, which sounds like a telenovela villain.
For sure. We're making it up.
Me llamo Cynthia.
I would want to be a...
No, Cynthia!
Actually, if I were to ever be in a telenovela, I actually want to be the villain.
You know, of course. Why? It'd be the most fun.
Yes. Yeah. But also the most popular telenovela to have ever existed, and you can ask like any Latin American who grew up watching novelas, is called Teresa. And the protagonist in the novela, she's like super evil, but she's like beautiful. She's pretty much like, she lets her ambitions get the best of her.
Oh, so she's like Macbeth.
Oh yeah, and she scams men and like just to like keep reaching like
evil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She like sacrifices her true love for money. She marries this man for money, but she's like miserable, but she fakes it and like, but yeah. So if I were to be in a novela, I'd want to be the villain, Cynthia. Anyways,
I think you'd make a great villain.
I think I'm a villain in real life. No, I'm kidding. Sometimes if I'm mad or hangry.
So how was your week, villainous Cynthia?
The villainous Cynthia was chill, cool, calm, collected. Nothing's too serious. I know I watched a movie. I'm trying to think what the movie was. I can't think right now. But no, nothing.
I watched the Invader Zim movie on Netflix.
Did you?
I did, yeah. I should have watched something more interesting.
Oh, I know what I watched. Can I say before I forget? I'm interrupting you now. Inception, because we talked about action movies, and you mentioned why. Well, you said you're like, that's a bad action movie, but why do you think it's a bad action movie?
I don't think I meant to say it was specifically a bad action movie.
Or what don't you like about it?
Wait, so it's a bad action movie because instead of embracing the action element of the movie, it tries to intellectualize itself, but it's a bad intellectual movie because it tries too hard to intellectualize itself. So like, it's like a smart person walking around being like, look how smart I am. Do you think so?
Is that how you took it?
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was really just like...
They were trying too hard?
It was way too like nose in the air, hoity-toity, like this is highfalutin cinema. Like it felt like a really bad attempt to get an Oscar.
I could see. So what would be like another movie recommendation that's similar to what they're doing but better?
Shutter Island. It's basically literally
Shutter Island.
It's almost the same movie in a way, but it's much better. It just does all the same things, but like less actiony and more psychological thriller. So it's a little bit more like slow burn type of thing. So I definitely like that movie much better.
Okay.
So
interesting point.
Wreck that one.
Wreck Shutter Island. I think I think every weekend now I'm gonna try and watch one movie so that when we come back to the Wednesday, we're like, what movie did you watch within the week? So I was like, I know I watched something. Good idea. So Inception, I watched it with my brother.
Inception, yes.
Inception.
Inception.
I know, we want to say it in Spanish. It'd be actually Inception. But how was your week?
How do I say like boring but not boring. I don't know. It was just normal. It was just a week. Like
Normal.
I made it. I'm here. The weather has been gorgeous here.
It's been windy.
Yeah, well, it's been windy. That's pretty awful. I hate the wind too. But we also broke like 2 heat records for February in the last couple days, which is definitely a little lame.
That's alarming.
Yeah.
It was
like
hearing
70 degrees in Sacramento in February.
Yeah, that's actually crazy. And I read too that Antarctica just broke their record as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I saw that too.
Which again, this is all very alarming. So it's not too good of news to hear that when there's like new high temperatures breaking in these like extremely cold areas of the world.
Mm-hmm. Especially since I like the cold much better than I like the heat. So it just seems like it's going to be harder and harder to find places where I can freeze.
I know. Maybe go to New York. I don't know how New York weather is over there right now, but
the summers
East Coast
in New York
listeners,
are
let us know how the weather is right now over there, because we don't know.
Yeah, we're all talking about 70 degrees over here. If you're in Detroit, it's like, oh yeah, if I walk outside and sneeze, my spit freezes. Like, I'm pretty sure.
Ew.
Yeah.
My spit. But we're not here to talk about the weather. What are we here to talk about?
The weather.
No.
Music.
Come on now.
Television
Try
shows.
one more time. One more time.
What's the title
3,
of this podcast?
2,
movies.
1. There we go. But specifically, we're talking about the Oscars.
The Oscars.
There's always so much buzz around the Oscars.
Buzz.
Yes, buzz. So the 92nd annual Academy Awards show.
Oh my God, there's been 92.
92, yes.
That is so many unnecessary award ceremonies.
Right.
Yeah.
And this one, the 92nd annual award ceremony, took place this past Sunday night, February 9th, at the Dolby Theater in Los Angeles. It's always in LA. I'm not surprised. Mm-hmm. And I want to go straight into probably the biggest, most powerful, impactful win of the night, which was awarded to, and we just watched the trailer for this film. So Best Picture, I'd say that's probably like the biggest win. Mm-hmm. Every year they talk about Best Picture. And this year, Parasite took the win for this category, beating other films such as Ford versus Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That is so many nominees.
I know for this category.
Weird, yeah.
These are all like pretty much all of these movies that I just mentioned. They've all been going up against each other for the previous movie awards.
Yeah, every award
the
ceremony.
SAG Awards, the Golden Globes, and however many there are now.
Yeah.
But what's really amazing about why, and really important why Parasite won for Best Picture, is because this became the first non-English film ever in the history of the Oscars to win in this category.
Yeah, it's not the first nominated though, right?
I'm not sure about the first nominated.
I'm pretty sure there have been other nominees that have been were foreign films.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that they actually took a win. And Parasite won 4 Oscars in total. That makes Oscar history. I didn't know that no one has ever, or no film has ever won more than 4 Oscars in one night. And
really?
So, yeah.
I find that hard to believe.
Okay, that's what it says on the Oscar website.
I'm going to check that.
Yeah,
we're going to fact check that.
You could do it.
Okay.
And so like I said, Parasite, they took home the most awards for this year's 2020 Academy Awards show. They also won in other areas such as I just mentioned, Best Picture. Parasite also won for Best Directing, Best International Feature Film, and Best Writing Original Screenplay. Not only that, but so I said they just also first became the first non-English language film in Oscar history to win for Best Picture, but they also became the first ever film from South Korea to even be nominated for the Best Foreign Film. So no South Korean film.
Hold up. 3 films have won 11 Oscars.
In one night?
In one night. The first was Ben-Hur in 1959, which, like, really, honestly, guys, what were they going up against?
I think they're talking about, like, actual movie films, not actors. Are these actors that are being listed?
This is a movie. The Ben-Hur won 11 Oscars. Titanic won 11 Oscars. And this is the reason why I was like, there's no way that's true, because I know for a fact that Lord of the Rings, the third movie, Return of the King, won multiple Oscars. It has 11 Oscars to its name. Lord of the Rings does. So the 4 Oscars is like really awesome. Like, I'm not trying to detract from that accomplishment, but just fact checked it. So,
well, Oscar.com, check your
seriously.
website.
Add us on Twitter, Oscar.com. Meet me outside, Oscar.com. Google just proved you wrong. Lord of the Rings,
Period.
Return of the King, Best Picture, Best Director, Art Direction, Costume Design, Visual Effects, Sound, Editing, Makeup, Screenplay based on material previously produced or published, Original Score, and Original Song. Won all of those.
Lord of the Rings.
The Return of the King. Ward of the Lings.
Ward of the Lings. And so
anyway, sorry to interrupt you in the middle of that.
That's what you do, right?
That is my job.
But that's an amazing win for the first South Korean film to even have ever been nominated. Again,
That's great for any film. 4 Oscars is incredible.
But I mean, again, it's just really nice to see like there's more like representation of minorities in Hollywood, South Korea, and like we mentioned this like in other episodes. Just how like there's very little Asian representation in Hollywood. So it's really nice to kind of see it being a little more diverse this year.
Yeah.
And the director of Parasite, Bong Joon-ho, he won all 3 categories for which he was nominated, which were for Best Writer, Director, and Producer.
Wow.
So congratulations
awesome.
to
congratulations.
him, right? Like to his team, his cast, everything. So no, I think that was like Parasite wanted to really just highlight their accomplishments, especially in the beginning of today's episode, because that's just like super amazing. And again, history making moment for them and South Korea. And
it's exciting to see like, because part of the reason that like a lot of those films won so many Oscars is because there were like just the market was limited compared to what it is today. So to win 4 Oscars in today's environment is incredible, because like the number of movies that come out every year is exponentially higher than what it's ever been. And the number of places that are producing, the number of countries that are producing critically acclaimed movies is also higher than it's ever been. And as we continue to see the rest of the world start entering into this like this, I guess we'll call it Hollywood, right? As we can see them entering into this like Hollywood space with foreign films. It's exciting to see that they're like going to be given at least some kind of like, I don't know if you want to call it like equal footing necessarily, because it did take a long time for a foreign film to win, and I'm sure that there have been other foreign films that deserve to win over domestic films. But it is regardless exciting to see like you said, the diversification of the industry. So
and
we were
pretty impressed with the trailer that we just watched. Like,
the
trailer was definitely not what we expected.
Yeah, well, so the trailer starts out making you think that this is like, like a cute slice of life Wes Anderson type flick, and then like just rapidly turns into something completely different. And that like the trailer says like, this movie is not what you expected it to be, and like I'm sure that it is not what you expect it to be. I've been told by my friend who recommends movies to me, and he's usually pretty dead on with his recommendations, that this is like the best film, one of the best films he's ever seen in his life.
Oh, so he already saw it.
He already saw it, yeah. I'm super interested in seeing it, and I meant to see it, but I was...
is it still in theaters?
Slipped. I don't know. I would guess usually when you win like Best Picture, they give you like a re-showing in theaters, and you can like, people get the opportunity to get another chance to go see it. So... maybe I'll go see it tomorrow night or something. So
not Sonic the Hedgehog. You've been raving about that film since I think we talked about it in December.
Please don't call it a film. That's a movie.
Whatever.
Yeah. Film is reserved for things like Parasite that like have something interesting to say. Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be like the best trash I've ever seen, and I'm just so excited for it. I'm here for it, and I'm not capping.
Not capping. No cap.
Yeah. Do you know what that means?
Yes, I know what that means.
I was hoping I know a slang word that you didn't know.
You're not going to beat me to it. You said, do you know what that means?
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then Cynthia can make fun of me for how outdated my language is.
Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC movie podcast.
Get it together, because first of all, you interrupted me, and second, you were about to announce the wrong podcast. So welcome back to the GSMC movie podcast.
Yeah, actually, I just want everybody in the audience to know that is the first time that Cynthia has glared at me, and I have noticed.
I'm like,
yeah,
you said music.
Throwing some shade with her eyes.
I know. My peripheral here. I'm like,
yeah, her periffs. Is that what that peripheral? Am I using that correctly? Okay.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone say periffs.
Yeah.
You're trying to abbreviate every
I'm going to make it happen.
Okay. Let's move on to some of the other winners of the night. We won't go through every single one, just kind of the ones that are always the main awards. Right.
Yeah.
So for Best Actor in a Leading Role, this was awarded to Joaquin Phoenix for his role in Joker.
Which I think is really interesting.
Say why?
Because Joker is a really popular movie, and a lot of the more popular movies have a tendency to not be considered for Oscars. Looking at the nominees this year, it's really surprising how many people I know who actually watched those movies. It's funny. Normally, a lot of the stuff that gets nominated for Oscars, people are like, "Oh, it's boring." Or
like Parasite.
Not, yeah. It doesn't seem like a standard thing you'd watch,
right?
But Joker was pretty much ubiquitous for months. Mm-hmm. So anyway,
and you still haven't seen it, huh? Because literally, I'm not even surprised that he won in that category. I think it's well deserved because his role in Joker, I'm obsessed with it, and I need you to watch it so you can understand why so many people love it too. And
I'll give it a chance, but I can't make any promises.
That's fine.
Okay.
Just give it a chance. And then for Best Actress in a Leading Role, this was given to Renee Zellweger for her performance in Judy.
Quick question. She's won this award in every...
I was going to say...
Literally every... It's hilarious that she's won this award.
SAG Awards,
everything.
Golden Globes, yeah.
Were there no other strong female acting performances this year? I'm
sure
sincerely
there
curious.
Were. I know.
There had to have been.
I know they always nominate Scarlett Johansson. I think she was nominated for her performance in Marriage Story, but it's the same recycled 5 women. Cynthia Erivo also for Harriet. She was also nominated, but yeah, I'm
weird. Well,
I know.
I guess Judy must be really, really good because she's won this award for everything.
Every single award ceremony.
Yeah.
And then for Best Actor in a Supporting Role, this was given to Brad Pitt for his performance in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Another Quentin Tarantino film, which is cool.
And this happens to be Brad Pitt's second Oscar win, which I thought I was a little shocked to read that because...
What was his first? Does it say?
Again, it's back... This is all from the Oscar website, so it better be correct this time.
Yeah, you keep talking. I'm going to fact check.
So, which I was pretty shocking to me because Brad Pitt has been nominated for Oscars. I mean, he's been acting for 20, 30 years, and for him to only have won 2 Oscars is a little surprising to me. But that's the same thing with Leonardo DiCaprio. He barely broke the curse a couple years ago for winning his first Oscar. So I just thought that was a little interesting because I would have assumed Brad Pitt, he's had many memorable, notable roles in a lot of movies. And for him to have only won 2 Oscars.
This is his first one as an actor. He was a producer for the movie 12 Years a Slave, and that's what his previous Oscar is. So this is actually technically his second Oscar, but it's his first acting
Yeah.
Oscar. Asking actor.
Asking. And then for Best Actress in a Supporting Role is Laura Dern for her performance in Marriage Story. And this is Laura Dern's first Oscar win. So
congrats to you,
to
Ms. Laura Dern.
If you ever listen to our podcast here.
Mm-hmm.
Best Animated Feature Film was given to Toy Story 4.
What was the competition?
Lion King. I can't remember the rest. Yeah, Lion King. I remember.
It's so lame. How did Lion King get? It's like literally a remake.
I don't know.
Man.
Maybe just the visual effects. Maybe
Sure.
because it's
Disney.
Soundtrack by Beyonce and like.
Oh.
The soundtrack is all Beyonce. Mm-hmm.
That is nowhere near as good as the one by Elton John and Hans Zimmer, but okay.
Actually, it is because her entire album is Afro-Caribbean. So she's all about the Afro beats and yeah.
I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that it's like Elton John's amazing.
Elton John is great. I do like Elton John.
Oh, his version of Can You Feel the Love Tonight? Whew, Elton John.
Actually, yeah.
Straight to my heart.
Okay. Anyways, we do not want to listen to me sing because it's terrible. And then last award I'll be announcing here is for Best Cinematography, and this was given to 1917.
Which I've heard good things about.
Me too. Yeah. And 1917, they also won for Best Visual Effects and Best Sound Mixing. So they took home this year 3 awards, 3 Oscars.
That's really cool. Yeah, my friend was telling me that movie was actually pretty good, that they kind of did the cinematography in the same style as Birdman, which won a couple years ago or last year, I don't remember. Mm-hmm. But where like the scenes are all like continuous long shots, kind of like they do in the movie or the TV series True Detective. So it's like a really long shot. So he said the movie's basically 3 long shots. So like it's like acting for 20 to 35 minutes straight.
That's really impressive.
Yeah, so it seems pretty interesting.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere there was this one scene. I don't know if I saw it with you. I don't know. But it was one of those long shots and it was showing like a behind the scenes of they were like in the middle of war or in a battlefield and the actor's running and it's just like a long shot of him running towards like all this or through all this chaos and was it with you that I saw or no?
No, we didn't watch this together, but that's okay.
I just feel like every time I watch anything movie related, it's like we're here in the studio.
Yeah.
Because we're like watching trailers and stuff. But anyway, so yeah, I think I'm not surprised they won for Best Cinematography because from just that short clip that I watched from 1917, I was like, wow.
Yeah, definitely looks interesting.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And let's move on to some of the musical performances of the Oscars because there were many.
Yeah.
And these included our guy, Elton John. We were just talking about him. Billie Eilish, Chrissy Metz, Cynthia Erivo, Idina Menzel, Randy Newman, and Janelle Monáe.
And Eminem.
Oh, yeah, and Eminem. How did I forget him?
Yeah, I was going to say, you forgot Eminem.
Ooh, how did I forget Eminem?
Like, the internet is ablaze with tweets about everybody's reaction to Eminem getting up and doing Lose Yourself.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, how did I forget Eminem? Yeah. But I want to talk about Janelle Monáe real quick. Have you heard of her?
No, I just had her recommended
actress.
to me by a friend of mine. So.
I feel like you would like her. If you like Ari Lennox, I think you'll like Janelle Monáe.
I'll give her a shot.
So, Janelle Monáe. She opened this year's Oscar ceremony with this like super vibrant and like just live high energy performance. And I really enjoyed it because it's good to see again that Hollywood is becoming a little more versatile and there's more representation of minority groups. And because the Oscars have been under a lot of scrutiny in past years of the Oscars being too white.
The Grammys, as have like it's I think it's kind of like a sad reality that is just gonna kind of have to be addressed where like the culture of the previous years was like they would intentionally be not inclusive. Mm-hmm. So now that they are like entering into a new space or a new culture that like that attitude just isn't acceptable anymore, and it never was. Mm-hmm. But now people are speaking up about it.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to see like basically all these award ceremonies and things are going to have to like evolve to properly represent the demographics of people who consume the media that they are like looking to tout as being the best. So I just think it's interesting to watch as things evolve.
Mm-hmm. And just kind of adding on to what you said.
And get better.
Janelle Monáe, so I didn't know this, but during her performance, she announced, or not really announced because she's been open about this, but she says in the mic, "I'm happy to stand here as a Black queer woman. Happy Black History Month." And I just thought it was so like, what a punching statement, because here she is performing in front of all these white people. Literally, like if you can see in the camera pan, there's very little people of color in the audience, and for her to just be kind of like in your face saying that, like, Happy Black History Month.
That doesn't sound that aggressive or in your face.
No, but throughout the performance, and she was literally like in people's faces in the performance.
Yeah,
and she also brought out Billy Porter, and he comes out in like these tall heels. No, he didn't.
Oh,
he had this like cape on and these like glittery heels, but it's just nice to see like that the LGBTQ, populations also being represented in the media in some way. And I just really liked her performance, but I didn't like how the crowd wasn't engaging with her. Like, I just felt like they didn't deserve her performance. She has amazing vocals. She has dancing skills. She had great like crowd participation. She would sing, and then she turned the mic to, I think, Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and like she's just a lot of crowd engagement, but I felt like they weren't really vibing with her. So it was very off me as a viewer watching that. And when I was like reading the YouTube comments, because they're always like the best comments, or that's like the best part of YouTube are the comments. A lot of people were also pointing that out, how it was just like a weird energy. Like, it was almost, I don't know how to explain it, but I just felt like that wasn't the right crowd for the performance that she gave. Not saying like I loved her performance, but it was just like it was a weird mix. I don't know how to explain it. It was just very off-putting to watch for me as a viewer, seeing kind of both sides, how she was trying to engage and then how they were just kind of like sitting there. 'Cause she's overly hyped. But all of that to say, that was probably one of like I think it was still a great entrance, a great way to open the awards show. And I want to move on now to the tribute part. So the in memoriam, the Oscars in memoriam, because they also got a lot of criticism. So Billie Eilish, she performed during the in memoriam. She performed a cover of the Beatles yesterday. She performed with her brother Phineas O'Connell. Phineas, that just reminds me of like Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah. Hey, real quick, we should take a quick commercial break.
Should we?
Yeah, I think so. It's about time. We're sorry we have to do this. We'll be right back.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hello, welcome back to the GSMC, that's GSMC movie podcast. You are not, like, I'm hoping that joke will make you laugh, and you just, like, don't. There's, like, no response. It didn't, like, just totally deadpan.
It didn't register. I was like, GSMC. I was like, what did I just listen to right
I just feel so judged.
Don't
you judge me?
This is a judge-free zone.
Judgment-free zone?
Judgment-free zone.
JFZ?
Mm-hmm. JFZ.
Yeah. Cool. So right before the break, we were talking about the in memoriam portion of the Oscars.
Yes. So this is where they pay tribute to the renowned actors, filmmakers, pretty much anybody who was involved in cinema, film making, in some way. And they honor those who were in the industry who had passed away over the past year with the Oscars 2020 in memoriam. And again, as I mentioned in the previous segment, Billie Eilish performed during the duration of the in memoriam to a cover, or she did a cover to one of the Beatles songs yesterday, which she sings so beautifully. It's crazy that she's only 18.
Mm-hmm. And she has a wonderful voice.
Oh, yeah. And just like, it's just so ironic the way she dresses and like her hair and everything, just her appearance. And then you would not expect her to sing that, or you would not expect for her to sing so like angelic. Mm-hmm. That's literally like how her voice is. So I really enjoyed Billie Eilish. And as I also mentioned in the previous segment, this portion of the show got a lot of criticism, not because of Billie Eilish. She like did amazing, but because of the crowd. Again, I was just like not digging the crowd. And let me tell you why.
Okay. Tell us why.
So they paid tribute. Very first person that was popped up on the screen was Kobe Bryant, which he was also a producer, not just an athlete.
Yeah, he won an Oscar
for his short doc that he made when he retired.
Was that last year or 2 years ago?
He retired in 2016.
Oh, okay. So it was like 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And many fans were confused and just like puzzled as to why Luke Perry and Cameron Boyce were not featured at the Oscars in memoriam, because they were two very loved actors. Cameron Boyce was on Disney Channel and they passed away within the year, and they weren't recognized.
Oh my gosh,
in the in
Cameron
memoriam.
Boyce was so young.
Mm-hmm. He was a baby.
What happened to him?
I forgot. It's like he had some illness, something like that. Yeah.
That's so sad.
I know. It happened like recently, not even a year ago. And so I'm going to read to you guys a statement that the Academy made, or representative from the Academy made, as to why they didn't feature Luke Perry and Cameron Boyce, because many fans were upset about that. They're like, why are they not included? And this is what the representative says. The Academy receives hundreds of requests to include loved ones and industry colleagues in the Oscars in memoriam segment. An executive committee representing every branch considers the list and makes selections for the telecast based on limited available time. So they pretty much didn't make the cut. That's what I got.
Wow.
But it's just kind of crazy because like they're both recent passings. They both had huge contributions to the art and world of cinema and film. Luke Perry was actually in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That was nominated for an Oscar.
He was in that movie.
Yes.
And he didn't. Wow.
Right.
What?
So it's kind of like a slap in the face, right?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd call it a slap in the face, because like ultimately the Oscars is just kind of like a really lame, self-serving award show. But like also it's the self-serving award show, so I can understand why people would be upset. I'm just surprised that they would like come out and say like, these guys just didn't make the cut for time. Like,
yeah, that's literally what they said.
So
it was
shave 2 seconds off of every other person and then just throw them in there. It's like, I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Regardless.
So I know I didn't get it either. And especially when I read that statement that they made, I was like, that just made it even worse. I feel like you shouldn't even have said anything now, because it's like, it's due to time and how I said, like, they just didn't make the cut. And not only that, so that was just one part of the in memoriam that many people disliked. Another part was the applauses of the crowd. The crowd was pretty selective as to who they were applauding for, which is like, to me, kind of messed up. So like, they would show pictures and like certain artists would get like a lot of claps and applauses, and like other artists were dead silent. And just imagine like the families and like the friends who are there attending the award show and like no one's applauding for their loved one. I don't know. It's just kind of like, I just feel that they should have had some rules set in stone to wait till the very end to just applaud for everybody, not be selective with who you kind of like cheer on.
Yeah.
It's just
lame.
Right. So those are
we're all adults here. Let's act like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to be fair, it's mostly adults at like high school graduations, and they still like cheer after their kid's name gets called. Like
that's what it kind of felt like. Watching that was like I feel like
little
I'm
popularity
watching
contest.
Yeah, it was cliquey high school graduation. Yes. So I'm honestly, I'm not a fan of the Oscars so far. How you said, it's just very. What is that you just said?
I don't remember.
I'm like, we said a lot. And then just one last thing I want to mention about the Oscars.
Mm-hmm. Wait, one last thing?
One last thing. Just one last thing. It's about Natalie Portman.
Wait. No, I think there's more in the show notes. I want to talk about this. The comical moment of the night about
I
James Corden and Rebel Wilson presented the best. Did Cats win Best Visual Effects?
No, they didn't.
Okay.
I think they did that because they didn't even get nominated.
Oh.
So for those of you who are like lost right now, there was the comical moment of the night. James Corden and Rebel Wilson presented the Best Visual Effects Award in cat costumes. Literally head to toe cat costume. And James Corden looked like a knockoff Cat in the Hat. And then Rebel Wilson looked like a knockoff Garfield.
That's great.
It was just funny because they were like mocking how like they didn't get nominated for their Best Visual Effects. But a lot of like viewers in the comments were saying, jokingly pointed out how their costumes in real life look better than the crappy visual
did this
effects.
Like weird CGI like I don't understand why they didn't just go like if you watch the filming of the original Broadway show, it's just people in makeup. Like I don't know why you wouldn't just go that route because it's not like you need to make it super believable. We know it's a musical about cats that are played by people, so like why are we trying to if you're going to go the route of CGI, just like literally make it all cats and not people dressed like cats. It doesn't make any sense. Mm-hmm. It's not like you don't have the capability. In fact, it would probably cost you less money production-wise to do it as just an animated film with just cats.
Right.
So
I just thought that was funny. I'm like, they're poking fun. And also just their costumes were hilarious. And even when they were
especially since it's like a black tie event.
Right.
Yeah.
And they're like in these cat costumes. But I feel like who else would like Rebel Wilson, she's known for her comedic acting role, so it seems pretty suitable for her to do something like that. And even when they were at the podium, they were like acting like cats. So the mic was here, and you know how I've never owned a cat, but cats like to like
bat at things. Yeah.
So they were both like knocking at the mic, and they were like swinging it and like acting kitty like.
That's great.
So I thought that was pretty much the only comical moment of the night. Really, I feel like the Oscars was pretty eh.
I mean, most of the time it's pretty eh.
Right.
Like, I would rather just read the synopsis at the end of the night. Like, who won what? Cool.
Right. What were the highlights?
Yeah. It's kind of like the Super Bowl's kind of similar for me. Like, well, not this year because the 49ers are playing and I love them. But, like, you know, I could just watch the highlights and be satisfied.
You're like, okay, I got a picture of it.
So, but anyway, last thing you were going to talk about, Natalie Portman,
finally,
who is
last
awesome.
Thing. So going back to the whole Hollywood and Oscars, they still have a lot of work to do as far as inclusivity and just making sure they properly represent, you know, the accurate demographic of who's consuming the media and film. And Natalie Portman, so for those of you who don't know, no female directors were nominated for this year's Oscars. They weren't even nominated for Golden Globes nor SAG Awards.
Okay, but I have a quick question. Do you have a list? Wait, hold up. Little Women came out this year.
Little Women did come out.
Yeah, everyone who I know who saw that movie said it was an incredible film. Wasn't that directed by a female director? Wasn't it the same woman who did Lady Bird who directed it?
I don't think so. I don't think Little Women was... Were they directed or nominated for Oscars? Anyway, so while you're looking that up, let me just say, so Natalie Portman in the pre-show of the Oscars, she was getting interviewed and...
it was Greta Gerwig. Greta Gerwig is the woman who directed Lady Bird.
Okay,
And she also directed
but
Little Women.
but they weren't nominated for the Oscars.
That's weird.
I know,
that is a little odd.
but the movie was nominated, but not like she wasn't nominated for best directing. Which is odd because it's like if you're nominating the movie, the director should kind of go along with it. It's like a 2-in-1 deal.
Is it really?
I think so.
Yeah, I would guess. If the movie's good enough to get a nomination, why isn't
Right.
the director good enough to get a nomination? Like, they directed it.
Exactly.
It doesn't make any sense.
And
it's not like they have a cap on how many people they nominate. Like, clearly there's plenty of room for nominations. That is a little odd. Okay.
Right. And so Natalie Woman, Natalie Woman, Natalie Portman in the pre-interview of the Oscars, she shows up in this like Dior cape, Dior gown, and in the very side of her gown or dress, she has embroidered all of the names of the female directors who weren't nominated. So, and she even says, they asked her, like, why are their names on there? And she's like, well, I'm here to recognize and represent all the amazing filmmakers and directors who were not nominated at the Oscars, but
Did she
who
put
have
the
done
movie titles
incredible
on the other side so that I could look them up?
No, she didn't. That would have, I know, right? Like,
Make
the
it
names,
convenient for me, Natalie.
right? But I just thought that was like a really like brilliant, subtle way to send a message, and she sent it all right because, baby, we got it. But no, I just think that it was really important, and I'm glad that she is shedding light on the issue, even in that very minor, subtle way. I think it still says a lot.
Yeah.
And that's what I need to say.
I don't know if I'd call that minor or subtle. I think that that's a pretty, I don't know. We'll take another quick commercial break here, and then I'll give my opinion, which absolutely nobody requested.
Watching TV has changed over time. Streaming has become the new norm. That's why Golden State Media Concepts television podcast dives headfirst to the world of cord cutting. Want to be on the loop of what's hot in Netflix? Or if it's not a preference, what about original shows in Hulu? We've got you covered. Join us as we fill in the blanks and talk about movies to stream and what show you should be binging. This is the Golden State Media Concepts television podcast.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Movie Podcast. And that is the first time that Keith has not interrupted me in bringing y'all back. So
wait, no, that's not the first. I didn't used to do that. I just started doing that like 2 weeks ago.
But
did I do it every single time today?
Almost.
Wow. Okay, I'll have to not do it at all next week. We're
gonna get a break and then we'll resume. But so you were gonna say your final thoughts on regarding.
I don't feel like that's a very subtle way to make a statement because, like, Natalie Portman's a very popular actress for good reason. She's also a very excellent actress. I think she's also produced movies too. Anyway, talented woman. Regardless, I don't think that it's very subtle to like put the names of all these people who kind of got shunned for the awards that they could have potentially deserved on her cape.
Literally, that's what she wore.
Yeah. So you just said that was subtle. I think I agree that it's absolutely like a good gesture of her to say, like, I want to represent these people who I feel are underrepresented. Like, awesome, super cool. Not that anyone needs my approval to do anything, but I think that I just think to call it subtle is maybe to downplay it a little bit because it's definitely pretty bold in my opinion.
I think it is subtle because it was very tiny writing on the side of her Dior cape.
Wait,
you had to zoom in.
Hold, what?
Yeah, it wasn't like.
Oh,
it was like,
that's lame.
It wasn't like it was like enlarged. I mean, it's.
I thought
like
it was literally like their faces.
No, it was literally subtle. Like it was like in cursive. Like it was like the same embroidery on the other side, like the same like gold design because the cape or dress was black, and then she had like gold accents all throughout her gown. So it literally like you had to like go up close and it have like the names in cursive all along, so that it was subtle. It wasn't like it wasn't in caps.
I'm sorry. It should have been. You know what? I want it to be louder next time.
It's still,
fight the power, Natalie.
It still sends a message, and she has a huge platform, like you just said, and she's representing those who are.
I mean, she played Padme in Star Wars, like best role she's ever played. That is totally a joke. She's done much better movies than that. Anyway. So we're going to move on to talk about a couple of movies that are coming out on Valentine's Day, neither of which are Sonic the Hedgehog. Why did you do this to me?
Because we talked about Sonic the Hedgehog already.
Okay, Sonic the Hedgehog comes out tomorrow night. Everybody go see it. It's got Jim Carrey. Super excited. Okay.
All right, you go see it.
Podcast over.
You go see it. You go see it, and then you'll tell me, because I need to like wait and see.
I know. I'm super excited to see this movie.
So let's talk about the first movie trailer. This is called Fantasy Island. It comes, how Keith just said, in theaters this Valentine's Day. It is rated as a PG-13 adventure, air quote, horror film. Which
if it's only PG-13, it is not going to be
I know.
good.
It made me giggle. Like, let me read the synopsis for you guys.
Yeah.
Actually, I don't know how to say that word, so you read it.
Enigmatic Mr. Rourke makes it's a stupid word. Like, why? Enigmatic? I like
enigmatic. What does that mean?
It's like very charismatic and kind of like crazy.
Okay.
There's a word that describes like wealthy people, eccentric. It's kind of like eccentric and accessible. It's similar to magnanimous as a word, but like enigmatic, like that's just terrible. Anyway, the enigmatic Mr. Rourke makes the secret dreams of his guests come true at a luxurious tropical resort. But when the fantasies turn into nightmares, the visitors must soon solve the island's mystery in order to escape with their lives, all while doing so without swearing, without graphic violence, without anything interesting to add to the story.
I know.
PG-13, what is the studio thinking?
Right. And I mean, I don't know. I'm conflicted because, I mean, this is from the same producers of Get Out and Halloween, which Jeff Wadlow and Jason Blum, they both produced and directed these films and are now producing and directing Fantasy Island. And I loved Get Out. Have you seen that movie?
I haven't seen it yet. I'd like to.
Okay. You need to. So that's why I was like, from the producers of Get Out, like I'm intrigued. And then I like the cast. I mean, I like Lucy Hale. We have Maggie Q, Portia Doubleday, Charlotte McKinney, Michael Rooker, Michael Pena, Kim Coates, and more. But I'm a fan of Lucy Hale from Pretty Little Liars.
I thought she looked familiar. I'd seen her in those trailers. I've never watched Pretty Little Liars.
I watched like a couple episodes, a few episodes. It's been a minute. And the movie was filmed in Fiji, so that must have been fun. Very tropical.
Yeah.
And another kind of interesting fact about Fantasy Island, this is a horror adaptation of the popular 70s TV show that's also called Fantasy Island, about a magical island resort. So this is pretty much like a remake.
Like the same way that they did with 21 Jump Street, where it's like this was a TV show and now it's a movie.
Was 21 Jump Street a TV show?
It was, yeah. It was Johnny Depp's like one of his first big roles was 21 Jump Street.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but all in all, I feel like we don't have too much to say about Fantasy Island. Like, I like the idea of it. I was like intrigued, like, okay, they're on an island and like their fantasies turn into their worst nightmares and like creepy things start happening.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's rated as a PG-13 is like, oh, come on. Like, that just like kills it for me. Like, I don't even want to go watch it now because how you said, there's not going to be like
anything interesting.
The
premise isn't even that good either. It's basically just the monkey's paw, but with more attractive people. Like that's yeah. It feels like if you could. The trailer makes me feel like I'm watching an episode of The Bachelor or The Bachelorette.
Oh my God, Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah, it makes it look like it's Bachelor in Paradise, but Monkey's Paw edition. And Monkey's Paw is a short story by Edgar Allan Poe. I think it's by
Edgar Allan Poe. I remember reading about him in like
junior high and high school. Yeah. So anyway, go see it if you're interested in it. It doesn't look very cool to us, in our opinion. But
to be honest,
it might be right up your alley.
To be honest, Keith and I are not too overly impressed with the movie trailers that we have picked out. But these are like the only films that are coming out this week. So we got to talk about them and give you guys our honest opinion. So what is the next movie?
Emphasis on opinion, by the way.
Yes.
This is not factual. Don't take this to the bank and try to cash this check. That's a metaphor. Anyway, we're going to talk about the trailer for The Photograph, which is a PG-13 rom-com. It is basically when famed photographer Christina Ernst dies unexpectedly. She leaves her estranged daughter, May, hurt and angry and full of questions. When May finds a photograph tucked away in a safe deposit box, she soon finds herself delving into her mother's early life, an investigation that leads to an unexpected romance with a rising journalist. It is directed and written by Stella Meggy. She's directed a couple of episodes on popular TV shows.
Grownish. Have you seen Grownish?
No. I've never even heard of it.
No, really?
What's with all these shows that have ish at the end of the title? Like there's Black-ish and then
right. Those are the
Grown-ish.
Yeah. I've seen like one episode. It has what's her name? Terry Ellie Ross, I think. Mm-hmm. I'm not getting her name right. I'm close though. But no, she has some popular work, Stella Meggy. Then some of the cast members in this movie include Lakeith Stanfield, Issa Rae. I love Issa Rae. Chelsea Peretti, Teyona Paris, Rob Morgan, Kelvin Harrison Jr., and others. I'm kind of like in the same sticky situation with this film, The Photograph, because I like the two main cast members, Issa Rae and Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith Stanfield, he's the guy that plays in Get Out.
Oh.
And he's so versatile in his acting roles. Like, that's why it's like every single movie that he comes out in, he plays completely different characters. Yeah. And that's why I'm such a fan of him, because like I've never seen him in a rom-com film. Yeah. Especially as a lead actor. And
the acting in the trailer is actually pretty solid. Like for how corny it is that they have to be, like it feels very sincere from both of them.
Well, honestly, the director is good. Stella Meggy, she does Grownish, a couple episodes from Grownish.
Yeah.
And again, like the cast members are great, but the storyline is just not, how you said, it's not doing really like anything special. It's just like another like romance film that's coming out on Valentine's Day.
I will say it's like interesting to see, like this is a decidedly different perspective than we normally get for rom-coms. So like that's good, especially rom-coms that are like kind of like in the zeitgeist of like popular culture. So, I'm definitely like interested in the fact that the film is like inclusive, I guess would be the best way to put that in a politically correct fashion. But like ultimately it just feels like something else that's going to get chalked up to like a good rom-com. So like it definitely looks like watchable when compared to other romantic comedies or like romantic movies, but
this isn't a movie I would go to the theaters and pay money to see. This is something I'm gonna wait for Netflix or Hulu to put on. Why can I speak put on?
I don't even know. Yeah, no, and I'm right there with you. Yeah, both of those. I mean, I'm never even gonna bother to watch Fantasy Island, and like if I was gonna watch Photograph, I would probably watch it at home with the $10 a month that I pay for Netflix or however much it costs for Netflix.
But I feel like, I mean, if you're in the mood, if you're with your boo this weekend.
Wait, is it boo or bae?
Either.
Oh, okay. If you're with your boo bae.
If you're with your boo bae. If you're, or you're by yourself, and you just want to go be in a simpy mood, romance simpy mood, then go watch this film.
Do you mean sappy?
Yeah, sappy.
Okay, I'm just making sure. I've never heard the word simpy.
Then go watch The Photograph this weekend for all my lovebirds out there. And
do you have a romance movie that people should watch for Valentine's Day?
I have to look it up. Maybe I know this is gonna sound so just basic AF. The Notebook. The Notebook. That's the only one that
does have James Garner in it.
Yeah,
great actor.
I mean, that's the only like romance film I can think of at the top of my head right now. I'm sure there are like other romance films I'm seeing that are better, but The Notebook, if I can like just name one at the top of my head.
I'm gonna suggest that if y'all are staying in and you're like with your boo or your bae, you should put on something like just really nice and sweet. I'm gonna recommend the movie Up. I know that it's definitely not a romance movie, but let me
I just watched that movie like 2 weeks ago.
Okay, so let me make a case here. So, the exposition at the beginning of the film where we find out that his wife has passed and the emotional investment that they're able to solicit from the audience in that brief moment is some of the most like powerful portrayal of a romantic relationship that I've ever seen. And then I think that what the film does in a very profound and interesting fashion is that it kind of goes through a cathartic self-actualization of an individual who is still holding on to something from their past, but at the same time is able to grow a deeper love for someone who isn't there. Because I feel like at the end of the film, the main character loves his wife even more than he did at the beginning of the film, and she wasn't present for the entire film. And I think that that's a really beautiful representation of what relationships can look like sometimes. Sometimes you don't need your partner there every second of every day in order for them to in order for you to fall more in love with them. And I think that that's something that's beautiful and special and can speak to a lot of people. So I recommend you watch the movie Up while you're eating your homemade spaghetti. So
there we go. Homemade spaghetti.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That's my go-to. Italian.
I love Up. I literally just watched that movie like 2 weeks ago. So it's fresh in my mind. So now I'm just like thinking.
Yeah.
And like the piano.
And I want to eat Italian food when I'm watching Up. I don't know why.
Really?
I always want like something warm and fuzzy and like pasta-y and like, I don't know. Anyway.
Pasta-y.
Yeah. So watch Up, cry a little bit, cuddle a little bit.
Or if you want to be basic,
do whatever else you want
to
do. So happy wait, I don't want to. Are we done?
We are done.
Okay,
we wrapped that. We talked a lot. Oscar talk. We have Fantasy Island and the photograph. Let us know in the comments
Not
if
the song
you guys.
by Nickelback.
Let us know in the comments if you guys watch these movies this weekend for Valentine's Day weekend. And as always, thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode.
Give us a like, give us a review,
share,
drop us some comments,
all of that good stuff,
subscribe, etc. And thanks for joining us.
Yep. And happy Valentine's Day, Galentine's Day. Happy Self-Love Day.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Have a good weekend, guys.